Good morning. This morning I'm going to show you, yes, you, how to draw a portrait in profile. So here we are, ready, so ready to draw our portrait in profile. So what you're going to want to do is, if you have a sheet like this, that's great. If you don't have this sheet, it doesn't matter because I'm going to show you what to do. So the first thing you do is you're going to need paper. Paper is important for drawing, or that you can draw on lots of things, like a table, but don't do that. So, or you can draw on cups or anything you have that's paper. Sticky notes are fun, but I'm going to draw on a regular piece of paper so you guys can see, and you're going to need a pencil. It doesn't matter what type of pencil you have, you just want your tips to be sharp, and I like to have one or two, that one doesn't look so hot, but I like to have one or two sharp pencils before I start. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to draw myself a nice circle. Now when I draw my circle, I am not worried about getting it perfect the first time because I can't. Well, I could maybe if I practice all the time, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go over it a few times to get it right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a letter J. But this J is backwards. So I'm going to start about halfway through my circle. So it's about there. You don't have to draw that guideline. But about there, I'm going to go down with a J and then come up. So it's a backwards J, just like that. Look, you already have it. Are you excited? You're doing awesome. I can tell. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to draw that ear. So that ear is just the letter C. C is for cookie. It's good enough for me. So I'm going to draw that C, but remember I said about halfway, this is where the halfway point is, that ear is going to come right about on that line. So I'm going to make my C right there. Now as you work, you may want to adjust some of these things. That's normal. So if I work and I say, oh, I'm going to move the eye this way, I might move this down a smidge up and down, and that's totally normal. As you go, you adjust. Alright, so we're going to attach a head to a neck. So to do that, we want to put a cylinder in here. A cylinder, you're familiar with this shape, I hope. A cylinder is like this, like that. It's not quite, that one's coming out a little bit, but it is a cylinder shape. So to do that, it's really easy from the side because you only really have to draw two lines. So you're going to give yourself space, because this is the back of your head, so your neck doesn't attach to like here in your skull, but it does attach to here. So you're going to go one line down, and I'm going to put another line down right here. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you I have this realization that I want my chin to be a little bit less J, so as I'm here, I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit more angular. Okay? So we had the regular J, and now I'm just going to make it a little bit more angular. If you want, you can even bring it close to the ear. Here you go. Awesome. So what we're going to do next is we're going to block out the features. Now for the features, again, this is much easier than doing it straight on, doing it from the side. It's because, well, you only have to draw one eyeball and one nostril, although you really shouldn't draw the nostril unless you're really feeling like nostrils are important to you, and one half of the mouth. So what we're going to do is on this line that we had, this middle line here, imaginary or actually there, what you want to do is give yourself a triangle. Now you're not going to give yourself a triangle like this. You want to just do it out here and then down. You see how I put this part on a little bit of an angle? Like that? So it's out like that and down like that on an angle. Okay? So I have my nose. It's looking pretty good. Aren't you excited? Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is another triangle. This triangle is going to come right up here. So I'm going to give myself a little space from the nose, just about to here, and I'm going to do one of these. Now, these are, I call them greater than less than alligators, because you learn that in math, the greater or less than. You want to put him there. And then we're going to do another triangle, and this one is a little bit more temporary, and you want to give yourself a little bit of space. So you have your nose. You don't want to put your mouth right here, because it'll look really weird. You want to give yourself a space. So depending how big your draw, you can give yourself a finger, and you're going to give yourself another triangle that's similar to the greater than less than alligator, but it is, in fact, smaller. Now you can change this as you go. I tend to change them, but it's up to you. Okay, you're doing great. You're on a roll, ready for the next step. So what we're going to do now is start filling in the features and making them a little more complex. So what I want to do first is I want to actually give myself a hairline. So from here, up here. I'm going to go zoop right here. I'm going to connect from here to here. It can change. You can do whatever you want with it later. You can totally change your hair. I love changing hair. But for now, I'm just going to do this. So I know where my hair is going to go on the back part here. It could go up or whatever, but it's going to start there. And then what we're going to do is the eyeball. Now you're not looking at the eyeball straight on. So you're not going to see like a big, it's not, you know, like this, right? All you see is the curve right there, like that. So it's just a little C inside of the greater than less than alligator. All right, good. So what I want to do next is a line that comes on top of here. That's for where your eyelid is. So I'm just mimicking here, and then I'm going to make a little curve right there. So again, this shape and this shape are really similar. You'll find that in drawing. A lot of shapes kind of come back. All right, so inside of here, I'm going to make my eye a little bit more complicated. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to connect like that. Inside of there, I'm also going to make my pupil. And that is a circle. Or an oval. It's a little more oval because you're seeing it from the side. All right, so what we want to do next is we want to draw your eyebrows. Eyebrows show you where your skull, the part of your skull is before it's the socket, like the hole where your eyeball fits inside. So to do that, I'm just going to make an angle here. I'm going to go up and then down. So up and then down, just like that. Okay, now we're going to start bulking out our nose. Now the nose from the side, also super duper easy. All you're going to do is the letter C. It's backwards, but it is a C. Just like the ear is a C, but it's backwards. This is a C, but that's backwards. Now, you might say, all right, now my nose is looking a little bit too sharp, like a little, so you can go in and start to kind of round out that angle a little bit. And you could even start with, you know, a little bit of a nostril here. Don't make a big thing like that. It looks like a booger. So what you want to do is just kind of make a nice little curve like that. And I wouldn't even color it in over here. A lot of people like to, but it looks like you're drawing a portrait of someone with a booger, and you don't want to do that. So the next thing that we're going to do is the mouth. So the mouth, one of the easier ones. So what I want to do is I want to recognize that there is like a piece of skin before your lips. So from here, right in about the middle of the nose, you want to kind of curve like that. I'm going to make it dark so you guys can see. Can you see? I hope so. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to make another curve like this. So it's kind of like almost an S curve, like that. And then I'm going to make another one to that line right there. Now, if you want your mouth open, you would put your other curve there. If you want your mouth closed, you line it up. It's really personal. So in the end, it kind of looks like, from this shape right here, looks kind of like an M or an ocean wave. It's up to you. And then again, I'm going to like slightly adjust for the chin. So now I'm going to come down and in a little bit, right to that line, and I'm going to poke out my chin just a little bit, just a smidge. Okay, now by this point, you have a pretty awesome face, and I'm sure that you do. So what we want to do now is kind of just play with a few of the features. So we're going to get started on the eyebrow. Now you could leave it a line like that. Some people shave off their eyebrows and draw them back in, but I'm not one of those people, and that's not usually the people I draw. Well, I haven't, so, well, in the future I might, who knows. But what I want to do is I want to kind of bulk it out. So I have this shape here, so you could easily mimic this shape. So it's copying the shape that I have. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller there, and then I could just fill it in like that. That's a pretty thick eyebrow. In general, men tend to have thicker eyebrows, and women tend to have thinner eyebrows. So if you want it to be a lady, you would be a little bit more delicate with your eyebrows, and people also maintain their eyebrows. So it's up to you how you want to draw it and who you want to draw, and that is the fun of it. All right, and then inside my pupil, I definitely want to make that pupil dark. So I'm just gonna go in. Okay, and then I want to make a highlight, but to make the highlight, I'm going to make all the areas around it first. So I'm going to give myself a circle in there that I know I'm not going to go inside that little circle. So I'm going to show you big up here. If this is my eyeball right now, and that's my pupil. I'm going to give myself a little space of a circle here, and that one I'm not going to color inside. I'm going to make that the highlight, where the light is hitting it. It's like a light catcher or a highlight. So this part is super duper dark. That's your pupil. That's dark, dark, dark. This part here, light, but we want to shade in here. So when you're shading inside of an eye, you have to imagine that your eyelid, this right here, is like a little umbrella. So I'm going to shade darker towards the top and lighter towards the bottom. And it's one of those areas where you can really play with your shadow. You can really push with it, see how dark you want to make it on the top, how light you want to make it on the bottom, play with it. Some people have really cool things in their eyeball, in their eyeballs. So they could have stuff like lines. I've seen people with little spots in them. They're cool. And you may want to make this line right around here, this U that we made, a little bit darker. All right, now we're going to talk about something that is extremely important. So I want you to really listen up. Eyelashes. Now, a lot of times when I see drawings with eyelashes, they look, you have your eye, and they're like ding, 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 ding. They look like spikes. Eyelashes are not spikes. At least not on me. So, the way that we draw them is you want to think of curves, and you want to think of soft curves, and don't go overboard. So, you're thinking curve. And when I'm doing it, you can start here or start here. And what you want to do is count. So I count short, short, long. So it's 3. That's a pattern of 3. Short, short, long. 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 And if you want to fill in, fill in. But don't go bananas. Same thing down here. You're going to have to give yourself a space. And you can just do short, short, long. 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 And that really gives you a much more realistic, or at least a realistic approach to doing the eyelashes. You don't actually have to put them in. So you can just put in a few little somethings or nothing at all. It is up to you. So, next thing we're going to talk about is hair. Hair is very important. You want to think of it as a shape. So, what I want you to do is think about your hair as being one big piece, not individual strands. Your hair isn't spaghetti. My hair is. Delicious! I love it! Al dente. But your hair isn't spaghetti. So I don't want you to think about it as little teeny tiny pieces. I want you to think about your hair as being whole, more like Lego guy than this. So whatever shape you chose, I like to play with hair a lot. I want you to think about it as the shape first. So you can think about, I'm going to think about the one I took some photographs of myself in. So I'm going to start just blocking it out. So I'm blocking out the shape. I'm not thinking about each individual hair, right? Not spaghetti hair. So I'm going to block it out like that. Once I have it like that, I'm going to take the side of my pencil and I'm just going to quickly fill it in. Don't waste your time. And maybe I'll make it come a little bit behind my ear there. You want to make sure that you're not wasting your time with drawing. So if you have a shortcut that you can use and it still looks awesome, use it. Okay, so I'm going to put in this hair here, and after I have it in like that, then maybe, let's make it a little above the head. Then maybe I'll start going into specifics, like this might be a little strand of hair. That's there. And make another strand of hair. But I don't work with specifics first. Get the big, bulky areas in, and then later hit it on with some awesome sauce detail. But start bigger first. Now after you've gotten in your hair the way you like it, and you're happy, happiness is important, what I want you to do is take your eraser and get rid of all your extra lines. If while you're doing this you say, oh, I want to do this or add this, do it. You know, sometimes when you're going over drawing the final moments is when you have, you know, thoughts of brilliance, and you should really start putting them in. So I've got that, and I might think, well, I want to extend her eyelashes a little bit. And you want to put a little shading on her lips. Make this a little darker. For the moment, you know, skip clothing, but you may want to give a little bit of a suggestion of something here. I may want to give like a few little dainty hairs, but you have to come up with what's good for you. And that is kind of the fun of it. That's one of the fun things part of it, is coming up with what you feel is right. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed the at-home version, and we'll see you soon. Bye.